Hey y'all, wanted to follow up on my first impressions with my second impressions. And again, this still isn't a review, but I did want to touch on some points. I know if you're anything like me and you're scouring around the internet looking for videos on the Note 2, you kind of want something that really gets to the heart of the matter. Not just the apps, but just kind of, I don't know, some ins and outs. So I've decided to share a couple of tips with y'all. The very first tip that I want to share is one that I found out almost the hard way. I was playing with some of the motion sensors and trying to figure out this and such, and I dropped it. Now, luckily, I have this pad down, and that's when it occurred to me that anybody that's familiarizing themselves with the Note and all the different motion sensors, from shaking to panning to tilting to leaning, you really should make sure you're on a good surface for all that until you get really comfortable where it becomes second nature to be able to do those motions. You don't want the thing slipping out of your hand. Now, speaking of slipping out of your hand, what I went ahead and did, because I found the back was really slippery, and as you can see, it is not now. I can hold it almost straight up and it doesn't slide. And the reason for that is I went ahead, well, before I get to the back, let me tell you, I went ahead and I skinned it. You know, I skin everything. I have to put my touch on it. And this I skinned because I was hoping that the metal, the chrome bezel, I was hoping that it was going to be that brushed chrome like on the SGS3. But it isn't. It's just that flat, boring silver, and there was just a little too much of it. It was so fat that to me it made the phone look chunky. So I went ahead and put a little of this, which is just regular chuck pin striping, and I took a really sharp razor blade and I was able to make a couple of cuts. It really came easy because it's pretty thin material, and it really looks good, and it really cuts down on the chunky look of the bezel. But anyhow, so what I went ahead and did with the back, because like I said, look how I'm holding that and it's not sliding. And that's because I went ahead and I took an old skin that I had right here. It was an old infused skin that I'd never used the back of. And you can order these from anywhere. If you order an older skin that, you know, isn't popular anymore, you can get them on Amazon or eBay for $2 or $3. The material is really good because it's kind of thick, non-slippery, and what I did was I just took the back piece, I punched a couple of holes in it, like so, and there you have it. I was able to put this on, which you can't really even see it, but man, does it add grip, because the skin is kind of a thick vinyl, and it really, really helps. Like I said, I'm holding it like that. I wouldn't dare do that above a floor, but look at, not even, you know, and it just kind of really clings. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, so I want to show you also what happened to me yesterday. Oh, now I figured out the motion part when you want to do a quick glance. If you just have that checked and you kind of put your hand over the phone and it senses the presence, there it is, of a hand, it'll show you at a glance those few items, okay? It's kind of stupid, but it's there. And then I went ahead and I installed Smart On, because the less I have to press a button on this big phone, and you have to use two hands and you want to make sure it's being held securely, the more likely you might press too hard or it'll slide out of your hand. But when you have capacitive ways of touching it, you don't have to apply pressure, hence less chance of dropping it. So I have the Smart On to turn it on. It uses the proximity sensor, and I have the Smart Off, or screen off and close, and works really good. I also wanted to mention that not a lot of reviewers are talking about the colors. I mean, yeah, they're saying, oh, it's no longer a pen tile and this and that. But I just want to say that to me, I've had every Samsung phone from the beginning, and I really find that this is the closest to Super AMOLED Plus. And I was kind of nervous because I was coming from my Infuse, and to me, there's no nicer screen than that. But finally, I think they got it right with the high definition Super AMOLED, because here, not so much. Like if you look at my pictures, I don't have a lot of reds and blues, so I don't know, it just doesn't seem to pop as much. Or on my home screen, I don't have a lot of reds and blues, but when I go to my app drawer and I look at all the icons, that's where I really was like, wow, you can really see it's even better than the AMOLED Plus, because these icons with the higher resolution are just so sharp, you know. So that's a really nice feature that I don't know if it's coming across as nice as it is in all of the review videos. Okay. I also wanted to mention that I don't know if you are familiar with the multi-view feature. I hadn't had a chance to get used to it, and it already disappeared off my screen, and I looked all through the settings and I couldn't find anything that was multi-view. So I'm like, okay, what happened? How did it disappear? And then all of a sudden I was doing something and I kind of lingered on the back button and then it appeared, and I'm like, okay, got it. So that's really how you get it to appear and disappear. See, for instance, the tab is right there, and that makes it go back up to just a tab. If you linger on the back button, it'll be gone completely. You don't have to even look at it. Linger on the back button and you bring it back. Okay, whoops. Now, I don't know how to use that yet, so I'm not even going to try to, you know, give instructions on that. But just so you know, that's how you make it appear and disappear if you lose it. Okay, like I was saying about the motion sensors, like for instance, I have on my motion, I've got it set to double tap to top, okay? So that's a type of a gesture that if you were in your contacts, and let's say you're all the way down at the bottom, contacts. Say you're all the way down at the bottom and you want to get up to the top without going, you could just double tap and it brings you back to the top. But again, if you don't have a good grip on the phone and you take one hand off to double tap, that's when you might slide it out of your hand, crash, boom, to the floor. So you want to be really careful not to use those gestures unless you have a good grip on it and you are 100% aware of what you're doing. Okay? Another thing I wanted to mention was, hang on, I've got this written down so I don't forget anything. I did want to show you the voice assistant. Now, right now I've got a gesture for that, and it's shake. List of skills.
These are my current skills. Tap on any of them to see how they work, and check back often. The list is growing fast.
Open quadrant standard.
Here you go. Quadrant standard is now open.
Search Office Depot, Beaumont, Texas.
These are Google's top results for Office Depot, Beaumont, Texas.
Oops. Calculate 100 times 500.
All right. What do you need converted, and into what?
Calculate 5 times 100.
5 multiplied by 100 equals 500.
Send text A Troy Cell.
There are a few matches for that name. All right. What do you want the text to say?
Bring home milk and don't drive too fast because you'll get pulled over for speeding and then you'll get taken to jail.
Here is the message I'm sending to a Troy Cell on mobile number. Bring home milk and don't drive too fast because you get pulled over for speeding and then you get taken to jail. Okay?
Cancel.
Got it. We'll leave that off then.
Close.
All right. I'll be on standby in case you need my help with anything.
So that's Voice Assistant, and it's the best one I've seen so far. And let me just see if I can show you what it looks like. There it is. It's called Voice Assistant, and it's by Speak to It, and it's a really great app. Now, I have a lot of great apps that I can share with y'all, but right now I'm going to just leave it at that. That's my favorite one. That's the Circle Launcher, and that enables you to keep your desktop really clean. That's my favorite. But that's it for now. Like I said, I just wanted to follow up with a couple of more great tips and nice things to say about this phone because you know, I was really worried that I wasn't going to love it. Everybody that knows me knows I get phones. I play with them a couple of days. I say I love them and then I send them packing. But this phone, I mean, it's so unbelievable to me how much it has stepped up from just 2 years ago. I had the first Vibrant. And, you know, as the waves of phone have been coming, they've been coming with, you know, oh, an extra feature here or there, 3D this, or a little bit bigger screen, or, you know, a burst camera. I mean, just like little features they've been giving us. Double, you know, a little bit upgrading the RAM from 512 to 756, and a processor from single to dual. But none of these things, I mean, and then you have the Note 2, and that's got leaps and bounds above everything else. I mean, it just doesn't end with all the features. And that doesn't even include, I haven't even gone with the S Pen because quite frankly, I rarely use it, but it's just another great thing about this phone. So I just wanted to touch base with y'all, and I'll keep you posted. Thanks. Bye.